Was Real Talk with AB. Yes, I said Real Talk with AB, and I know a lot of y'all are saying, where the hell is AB? Well, listen, my brother from another mother asked would I fill in as guest host on this evening, and it's going to be a blast. We're going to have so much fun. We got so much food talk to talk about. But he needed a break, and I'm glad he was able to get away. Um, for this episode. He will definitely, you guys know, be back next week. I got some big shoes to fill tonight. So if I stumble, y'all help me out. But I'm looking forward to it. Um, Now, before we get started, just like AB does it, we have to recognize the people that make this thing happen. And of course, that's the lovely Mitzi
Hi.
and Nada.
Hi.
Those are my girls. They make it all happen. Without them, this show wouldn't fly, y'all. And I guess to my left, that would be the amazing, as our guest this evening, Chef Nikki Shaw. And we are super excited to have Chef Nikki Shaw. Nikki and I go way back many years. As a matter of fact, when we start catching up this week, I couldn't believe the number of years and how big our kids have gotten since the first time we met. But she's an amazing chef. She's going to share with us um, her inspiration behind cooking. Um, Also, some of the amazing things that she's doing. She's going to really take me to school this evening on a healthy way of cooking. We all are trying to eat healthier. I've got this big old garden where I'm going straight farm to table these days here on my property. And so I'm looking forward. I got a couple of questions about a couple of vegetables that hopefully Nikki can, I haven't even told her about it, but hopefully she can give me some insight on how to prepare. One in particular is okra. But I want to, uh, before I pass it over to Nikki, I got a little bit of business to take care of. Otherwise, AB is going to be all over my butt. So I want to tell you guys about the giveaway, and a lot of you have heard of it um, before on this podcast, but I want to announce that Real Talk is hosting a giveaway. Yes, it's the one you've heard about, and it's finally here. There's going to be a giveaway, 3 sets of Hex class cookware. The grand prize is a 13-piece set and two 7-piece sets. Now, y'all pay close attention. All you have to do is leave a comment in this video on Real Talk with AB. In the comments section, just type in pick me, hashtag Real Talk with AB. There will only be one entry per person, and the entry is open until August 23rd, 2022, which is his next show. Um, and you must be a subscribed um, viewer of Real Talk with AB, and winners will be announced during the show on the 23rd. And you have to be present to win and collect your prize. Did I get it all in, Mitzi?
Absolutely. Thank you,
Oh,
Pat.
perfect. So
Yes,
now
and
we want to move. Go ahead, Missy. I'm
sorry, I
sorry.
just want to address some of the comments in the live chat. I see that we have people commenting pick me. So it will be in the comment section below. I believe this is like the chat section. So once the episode is done for the day, if we can have, everybody that's trying to enter this giveaway, go ahead and comment that in Real Talk with AB's YouTube channel, please. Okay, I just want
Yes,
to clarify that because I see, comments here. Just want to make sure
thank you.
everybody's aware.
They already want their
Yeah, they're
set.
ready for those hexagon. Absolutely. They're great pans. Mhm.
Too bad I can't. I guess I'm just going to buy mine. I mean, I don't think they're gonna let me put my comment in and select me as a winner. But without further ado, I want to introduce you guys to the incredible, amazing chef, great friend. I love so much about all of the things that Chef Nikki is a part of. But I want to introduce you guys to Chef Nikki Shaw.
Thank you, Pat. It's a pleasure to be here. I just want to give a big shout out to AB and his crew for having me, and thank you for reaching out, Pat. Pat called me. I was on vacation in the Bahamas, and I wasn't answering any calls because, as you know, they charge you for those calls. But I saw Pat Neely calling on my phone, and I was at the water park getting ready to slide down the water slide. I was like, "Oh, hold up! I got a call. I'll be right." And
right.
Like, Mom, come on, for real? I was like, "Oh, baby. Mama's always working." So thank you. Big shout out to Pat.
Well, you answered, and I was shocked when you told me. You finally told me I just arrived in the Bahamas. I said, "Girl, are you answering your phone?"
Yes.
She said, "Well, you're my brother," and so I really appreciate it. As I told Nikki when I was trying to think of who would come on, you were the first one that came to my mind. And I think the reason why is because I've always held you in high regard because you're so multi-talented. And, I want to turn it right back over to you, but I want people to know that the first time I met you was in like 2014 or 15.
Mm-hmm.
And I was invited to New York to the Circle of Sisters, big African-American female star-studded expo.
Yes.
And they had a section, was it Cooking Corner?
Yeah, the Cooking Pavilion, then they changed it to the Cooking Corner. It had
Right.
been a couple of years that I had hosted that particular section, but I think it evolved to the Cooking Corner.
Well, what I enjoyed so much is that you were the MC and you were the host. And so you introduced me, but you stayed up on stage as I was cooking. You were involved and taking questions and comments, and we just had a blast. And then from there, I guess we did it 3 or 4 more years in a row, and we always stayed in contact. And so it's such a pleasure to have you because we haven't had a chance to catch up in a while, and I want to know all the new exciting things you're doing. And really dig into some of the food topics. So, Nikki, I think I want to start with, and this is a common question. I'm sure you get asked all the time. I get asked all the time. We as food people are some different, and a lot of people may say strange individuals. We have a passion for it. We love it. We make our kitchens our sanctuaries. And I just want to know when, because I've never asked you this, was the first time you fell in love with cooking, and who inspired you? 2-part question.
Great question. But before I answer that question, I got to let the viewers know how awesome they are receiving this surprise with you hosting AB's show, because Pat, your show was my favorite show on food.
Oh my goodness.
It was because you didn't see us on Food Network.
Yes.
So when I would see, and please forgive me if I'm overstepping, but when
no, go right ahead.
When I would see you and your wife at the time, Gina, when I would see you two pop up on that stage, I was like, okay, that's me, and I can do that.
Wow.
And I tell you that for a Black woman chef, that was inspiration, because a lot of times we don't see us being represented in these big major networks. So when I saw you and Miss Gina on that screen, and you were just talking normal, you were just saying whatever came up in your mind, I was like, okay, see, I was under the impression that I had to look a certain way, I had to speak a certain way, I had to be trained a certain way, but you guys made it so attainable. So I just really want to give you your flowers right now and say,
well, thank you.
And you did real recipes. You did beans, you did potato salad, you did yams, mac and cheese. And these are the things that people always reach out to me. They're like, well, how do I make this? You made it real easy. And I just want to really thank you for that.
Well, thank you. Thank you. You know, Nikki, one of the things was about Down Home with the Neelys. First of all, I had a blast with Gina. I mean, it was unscripted,
Mhm.
and neither one of us had a whole lot of experience in television. I had appeared on a few shows, but nothing in the production set like that. And our producers were really cool because they said, just be yourself.
Mhm.
So when we jumped on, we never really discussed what we were going to say, what we were going to do. The only format that we had was that we got to make this recipe, this dish, and that dish. And one of the conversations I had with Food Network in the very beginning, because I already had a very successful career in the restaurant business. And so we weren't really looking for television. I appeared on a show, and they afterwards, the producers asked, would you guys be interested in television? I said, yeah, whatever. And so we had no intentions on it being as big as it was. I looked at it that it's an opportunity to highlight my business, to grow my restaurant. But from day one, we always just flowed and we were ourselves, the same way we were, whether the cameras were on or off. But if I had to say one of the things that I'm most proud of is that it influenced so many people to get in the kitchen, men to get in the kitchen, you know, African American brothers and sisters to say, hey, they doing it, I can do it. So, you know, I'm very proud of that, and I'd like to see more of it.
I
I
would.
really would. I really would like to see. So, thank you so much for that. But I'm sure you already had a inspiration to be a chef. You know, a lot of people they watched us and they would get in the kitchen and cook, but they didn't inspire to take it to the level that you've taken it to. How did you get there, Nikki?
Well, you know, I first and foremost I have to say it's the grace of God because I really don't know.
Really?
It is truly the grace of God, and I just followed my heart. And what I will say is that when my aunt Brenda, who is the person in my life that took me under her wing and showed me how to cook, because my mother was not a cook, my grandmother was not a cook, but my
Wow.
Brenda, she was down in the kitchen.
Really?
And she would always pull up a chair for me in the kitchen and give me my own ball of dough. So
Really?
oh yes, whenever she would make pies or cobblers, give me my own dough, and I would play with that dough, and that's when I started to become interested.
Wow.
Excuse me for coughing my
Wow. Wow. That's you hear that story so much. I got a 4-year-old right now, and anytime I'm in the kitchen or my wife is in the kitchen, and I got a few of videos of her cooking with me, and she's 4, on my YouTube channel, Pat Neely BBQ King. But she loves, like just the other day, Sunday, my wife was making cornbread. She comes in, Daddy, I made cornbread, and she loves to get her hands in there and mix it and do all of that. So I think that that's where a lot of young people start. I remember as a young kid, my mother always cooked because it was 6 of us. And then when I went over to either one of my grandparents' house, they were always in that stove in there cooking. And then my love for barbecue just came because my grandparents both, they grilled. And then of course when my uncle opened up his business, I just absolutely fell in love with it. And I tell people, you know, in order to be a great cook, whether it's at home, and you can attest to this, or on a professional level in a restaurant or something like that, you have to have a passion for it. There's got to be more than just going in there and saying, well, oh God, I got to cook dinner. You got to enjoy it. I mean, to this day, when I prepare meals for my children, it's an art to fixing their plate. I mean, I got to make it look good because I was always taught a lot of what we eat is our visual, what we see. And so right now, you know, if I put cherry tomatoes on my daughter's plate and she loves them, they're over in a corner, the macaroni and cheese, a little chicken, and I might cut it up. It's a beautiful looking plate. So that's important. So when did you really, at what point you got married, started having kids, but when did you inspire to really take it to the level of being a celebrity chef, Nikki?
Well, okay, and again, that was the grace of God, because I started a catering business before I got married. And then all of my parents' friends and all of my husband's friends would ask me to cater their parties and cook for them.
Oh.
And it kind of just fell in my lap. So I was like, okay, so this is what God is calling me to do. Okay, I'm going to follow this vision, and I'm going to open this business and make it official, because I was doing it very unofficially.
Right.
LLC, which is very important. I created
Right.
some invoices, we got some business cards, and then the business just fell in my lap, and I just got all kinds of requests, and it was smooth sailing. Then after the catering business, I decided, because a restaurant and a catering business is a lot of work from morning into the night. So then I said, you know what? I want to do this on a higher level without as much labor. So then I was asked to be a partner in a restaurant group, and these were restaurants and concessions at airports.
Oh,
so I said, absolutely. So then I became a partner, and right now we have 7 restaurants and concessions at Oakland Airport.
Wow.
Yes, and we are moving into other airports as we speak. We're doing the paperwork right now.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, I actually had one of my barbecue restaurants in Nashville Airport for about 15 years.
Okay.
And then I had 7 locations in the NBA arena for about 14 or 15 years. And it's different than a brick and mortar or a catering business. It's about quality. It's about speed. People don't want to wait in long lines, but that's a hell of an accomplishment. We have to talk more about that because that excites me, because when you have a passion for something, then you really sink your teeth into it. So Nikki, one of the things that I really want to ask you, I've noticed, and we've talked about this, that you've gotten more into healthy dishes. Was that something you always was into, or did you evolve into that as you start having a family and those type of things?
Well, it's something that I was always interested in, and I always tried to live a healthy lifestyle because, as you know, my husband was in the NBA from 1988, and when I tell you, that lifestyle requires you to show up. Now, you can show up however you want to, but I chose to show up being the best version of myself. And a big part of being the best version of yourself is eating right, drinking right, and exercising the right way, and doing everything in moderation. I'm not saying cut out alcohol, cut out carbs. I'm just saying do everything in moderation.
So quite frankly, and this is something new to me, you were actually preparing meals for Brian when he was at home and keeping him on a regimen, because being involved with the NBA for so many years, most of the players that I knew hired chefs. He slept with his chef.
Well, he didn't have to hire a chef because I'm right here. And you know what? The thing about my husband is I had to encourage him to eat healthy, because
of course,
he didn't always want to eat healthy because
like me,
right? Like a lot of our people, and I had to encourage him to make healthy choices. That meant making certain decisions before he went out on that court and then showing him the difference that his body would react to eating fast food before a game and eating healthy vegetables and green meats before a game. And then it was proof. He saw how his body responded to making healthy choices. And then it wasn't so much a fight.
Well, and I think probably the other thing, and this is real crucial that I'd like to ask you is, a lot of times we think eating healthy doesn't taste good. And I always say your palate it adjusts to what you put on it. So tell us a little bit about how to take a certain dish without a lot of salt or without a lot of sugar, but still give it the flavor. I'll say this, I wrote several cookbooks, and my publisher, because Gene and I, we Southerners. I mean, there's a lot of fried and a lot of carb, a lot of potatoes, a lot of dishes that a lot of people might consider not as healthy. And we always had to, on a lot of them, we had to tailor those dishes or have sidebars of an option of a healthy way. So, for instance, if I show for Thanksgiving a deep fried turkey, my publisher wanted me to show on a sidebar a roasted turkey.
Right.
So tell me, what's the trick to taking a dish and flipping it so that I can eat it and I said, I didn't know that this was healthy. I mean, it's really good. How do you make that happen?
That's a great question, Pat. And thank you for asking that, because people ask me that all the time. So the first answer is you have to be willing to want to do better, because low-fat cheese or vegan cheese is not going to melt the same way. Turkey bacon is not going to taste the same way as pork bacon. And people ask me all the time, well, it don't taste the same. Well, it's not going to taste the same. But the first step is to be willing to make the change, because if you want to see better results, you have to make the change. If you don't make the change, you're going to get the same results over and over.
Right.
My first question to people, are you willing to make the change? Because I don't want to spend time trying to convince you about the benefits of preventing diabetes, heart disease, and high blood pressure, because I see it every day in my family. Most of the people in my family are dealing with obesity. They're dealing with diabetes. They're trying to bring their blood pressure down. They're dealing with stroke, heart disease. So if I have to convince you to live a healthy lifestyle, then I don't always have the energy for that. You have to want it. When I say you, I mean my community. You have to want it. It's just not going to fall in your lap. But what I will say is, instead of trying to make, let's say, potato salad a healthy way, you can't have potato salad, because potatoes are carbs. So if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to prevent diabetes, you got to cut back on the carbs, because the carbs turn to sugar. So instead of even trying to make a healthy potato salad, switch over to coleslaw, because now instead of potatoes, now you have shredded cabbage. Now you've already solved your problem right there. We're just going to add more flavor to our shredded cabbage. What I'm inviting our community to do is change your dishes. Don't always try and make soul food dishes healthy. Change your dishes. Instead of having collard greens with fatback or ham hocks like I grew up, we have a turkey salad. Have a kale salad. And absolutely turkey in your greens.
Well, my wife now, she makes collard greens a lot, and smoked turkey necks that she boil in there, or a drumstick of turkey, as opposed to ham hocks and all of that. And quite frankly, after it's seasoned and really cooked, I can't tell too much the difference. I'll tell you something else that she does that I didn't even know is she loves to make tacos. And she, instead of ground beef, she does turkey meat. And it's amazing the way you season it and you cook it that you really can't tell the difference. I mean, you really can, especially once you start to eat it. One of the things that I believe in, and you tell me if I'm right or wrong, is I love my fried chicken. I love my macaroni. I love my potatoes or baked potatoes or whatever. But my wife has been so great with me in that, all right, now you had fried chicken on Monday. I already know I can't have it anymore for another 8 or 9 days. I can't even, I better not even bring that to her because she ain't having it. And so now what has happened is it's become self-conscious in my mind. Dude, don't even try to fry that. You know she ain't going. Now,
Right.
one of the things that I come up with that's in one of my recipes on my YouTube channel is I do a oven baked fried chicken.
Mm.
So I basically take the chicken, rinse it, clean it, season it. I dredge it through buttermilk and a little hot sauce. And then check this out. I take some generic corn flakes and I put them in a Ziploc bag and take a rolling pin and roll them to become like breadcrumbs.
Sure.
And I roll the drumsticks in that, sit them on a wire rack in on a baking sheet and bake them in the oven. So I get the crispiness of a fried chicken
Totally.
without the oil and frying it. So I've tried to be creative in dishes like that because, what I try to tell people is it's not just about you. You got a spouse, you got children, you got other people that love you, that you need to try to change your habits so that you're there for them. And so I really I'm trying to be a lot better. My wife tells me a lot of times, I'm so happy for you, baby. You're doing this and you're doing that. One of the things that she's got me hooked on is as opposed to the fatty breakfast, she'll take oats, add a little almond milk in the bowl,
Mhm.
top of it off with, and these are raw oats uncooked,
Whoa.
stir it in, top it off with strawberries and blueberries. She'll put a few walnuts on it and a dab of honey. And that has become our breakfast for a lot of morning. Very filling. It'll take you through to the mid lunch before you want anything else. It's chalked up with fiber and fruit and nuts, as opposed to honeycombs. So, I think it's, I'm so grateful to you. And I think that you need a much larger platform in terms of educating people because it's so difficult, especially in the African American community, to
Yes.
get them to, they you just automatic. I don't want it. I ain't eating it. I ain't eating it. As opposed to, we have to show them ways of cooking and steaming and doing certain meals that will, and here's the other thing that I think is so important is that our children, if we want to get rid of this curse in our heritage or culture, start our children off at a young age. I have a son that he will eat a salad for every meal, Nikki.
Mm-hmm.
He loves vegetables.
Yes.
My daughter, I told you, off camera that I started this big garden, and I grow everything from romaine lettuce to Bibb lettuce, tomatoes, cucumbers, cantaloupe, sweet potatoes. I mean, it's massive. Squash, peppers, and I go out there a lot of evenings and just pull cherry tomatoes off. She eats cherry tomatoes daily. I don't care what we're serving. If I put her 4 or 5 cherry tomatoes on her plate, she'll
Mm.
just chew them like grapes. And
Yes.
so what I've done is I'm starting them off young, eating
Mm-hmm.
healthy. They create an appetite for healthy eating, and still be able to enjoy the meal.
You
But
know,
what I want to do,
you know what,
go
Pat?
ahead.
I wanted to add with me, I've had to break the bad habits. And to be quite honest, my parents didn't know any better. I came from a low income
Oh
family.
yes. Yeah.
And
No.
they had to make ends meet. So
Yes.
we had the grease can on the stove, and they would just recycle that grease and just use
Yes.
it over. And this
Yes.
grease had pork chop grease, it had bacon grease, and
Chicken, all of that. Yes.
they would scoop into that can, and they would make pancakes, they would make green beans, and then as soon as they'd finish making that, they'd add it back to the can of grease.
Little gray can with a lid on it. Now, Nikki, so I'm gonna share some with you.
Okay.
I got one of those on my counter.
Well, see, that's what I teach my people. We got to get rid of the grease can.
I know, I got one. Now, it'll sit there for weeks and weeks in.
Weeks and weeks. But see, that's our first bad move as a community. Having that grease can, and I understand why we had it. I understand.
My grandmama had it. I mean, there was history in that thing.
We had to recycle. I get
Yes.
it. You know, we had to reuse, you know, because that's what
A lot of flavor in there, though, Nikki. If you take a teaspoon of that and put it in that pot of greens or cabbage, Lord have mercy. I know it ain't right. I mean, I'm going against all your rules. But
right. But first I had to break the bad habits that I grew up with. And as I was saying, my parents had to make ends meet. So
yes.
they had to do what was passed down from their parents.
Yes.
Was not the best and healthiest advice. But then I had to stop the cycle, because after I broke my bad habits, I raised my children with good habits so they didn't have to break the habits.
Yes, it's called breaking the chain. You know, my kids, even my grown kids, they eat and cook a lot healthier than I did. You know, I've been blessed because I get regular checkups. My cholesterol is in order. I have no blood pressure problems. But I exercise and I'm conscious. You know, one of the things that I tell my wife sometime now, I ain't gonna get psychotic now, because Pat Neely just loves some good, flavorful food. But I think it's about moderation and how often. You know, I had a big luncheon yesterday, a meeting, and I wanted me a burger. I didn't eat because I knew I was having this lunch, and I wanted me a juicy burger.
Okay.
And I had in my mind, I'm gonna order this burger with bacon on it, and damn it, this is what I'm having. Just before I got ready to order, I said, give me the grilled chicken sandwich. I changed my mind. And some of it, Nikki, was, and I really want to get to some of the questions Robert just asked, how long has Nikki been cooking? But some of it is, I didn't want to feel the way I would feel after I ate that burger.
Exactly.
Bloated and loaded down. And so I made the conscious decision, you know what, just give me the chicken sandwich. And I had told everybody at the table, I'm getting the burger. And they all was eating healthy. Give me the fish with no bread, and give me the asparagus and all of this for lunch. And I said, I'm getting me a burger because this was a great burger place. But I chose not to. So, Mitzi, can we take some comments or a call or two? I want to get a few things in while we still have Nikki, and let some folks ask some questions that they may be wanting to ask Nikki.
Absolutely. We have a question here from Robert Cooney. Says, Nikki, how long have you been cooking?
I have been cooking since I was 4 years old. Wow. And my aunt would pull that chair up to the counter, and my first thing that I ever cooked was the Pillsbury biscuits in the can.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I thought that was so amazing that you could peel off the label, push the seam, and it would pop open. So that intrigued me as a child. So biscuits, that was the first thing I cooked. And then it just evolved from there. I can't remember the last time I've made some homemade biscuits. It's been years, only because I'm now eating, I'm doing like a partially keto diet, not strictly keto, but I'm doing low carbs now. So I'm rarely eating pasta, potatoes, bread, or rice. It's rare. I will do it on occasion. But my formula to staying healthy is lean meat, which is chicken, fish, or turkey. I don't really do the other meats that I didn't mention. No shit, but I just don't do it. And I do a lot of vegetables and very little fruit and plenty of water every day. That's my formula for a healthy lifestyle. Lean meat, vegetables, little fruit, and plenty of water.
So so little fruit?
Very little fruit. Yeah, I don't do a lot of fruit at all. Only because fruit is high in sugar. And although it's natural sugar, the more sugar you eat, the more you crave. So I'm trying to break my love with sugar.
I got you.
Yeah.
You know, I got you know, so much of this is lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
I came from a family of 6. And so my mother, and it was 5 boys. So when she cooked big pots of stuff. And, you know, like chili and stuff. To this day, when I make a pot of chili, my wife goes nuts. I put rice in the bottom of the bowl and put the chili on top. And people say, why do you do that? And I said, well, I think my mother did it to stretch the chili for all of us.
Exactly.
And so then it became a habit for me. Now, right now, in the winter months, when I do my savory dishes and I make a big pot of chili, I got to have rice in the bottom. So I think what you're saying is so much of it is routine. I mean, I am such a routine person. I mean, one of my hardest problems now is that, and it's been this way for many years, is that I don't sleep well. And so I'll go to sleep and then I'll wake up. And I might wake up at 1, 2 in the morning. Girl, you would have to get National Guard to keep me out the kitchen.
Wow.
I mean, and so what I'm trying to do now is when I do wake up and I have those urges, it's a granola bar, you know, or it's maybe a half of a Granny Smith apple or something.
Okay.
As opposed to the Cheetos that's in the cabinet, and so it's difficult. It's very difficult, and you have to be, as you said earlier, conscious, very conscious. So, Mitzi, can we take a call? Do we have any calls?
Let me put I will put up the phone numbers so if anybody wants to call in. And in the meantime, I believe that there's a question that we had for Chef Nikki.
And I think the question was, when did she first become a chef? Was that it? When did she first become?
No, it said, well, what is or was the biggest lesson that you learned in being or becoming a chef?
There we go.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think my answer would be to be authentic. Be yourself. Don't try and be anyone else. Be yourself, because that will shine through. And with me eating healthy most days a week, most meals a day, that's just who I am. And the other question that I saw is, what's my favorite dish? My absolute favorite thing to cook and eat is salmon every day. And I think people always want to pronounce the L in salmon. They want to say salmon, and I just want to let everybody know that L is silent. Do
it's
not
salmon.
L and salmon.
Right. Salmon. So, Nikki, 2 great things. You know, one is being authentic. I mean, I've always been that way. Whether I was hosting a television show, and it's some of the advice that I give. You know, when I was first approached by Food Network, and they asked me, what were some of the things that you require to be a host? I said, well, the first thing is that I cook the dishes that I want to cook. I don't want no executive or no one from the culinary department at Food Network telling me this is what we want you to make on your show. These are dishes that I grew up on, that I like to cook, and I got to do it. Being yourself and being authentic is extremely important. Now, getting back to salmon. So can you give me like 2 quick go-to salmon recipes without all the ingredients, but how you prepare them?
Oh yes.
And then I got one for you, and you're probably not gonna like it, but I'm gonna give it to you anyway. But go ahead.
Okay. So my first favorite way to prepare salmon is on a wooden skewer. So I'll take my beautiful fillet and then I'll cut it into strips and then cut those strips into chunks about 2 inches by 2 inches. And then I will skewer the salmon. Sometimes I'll get a fresh pineapple and cut pineapple chunks and put a pineapple chunk in between each piece of salmon.
Yes.
Then I will season it with this wonderful seasoning that I love called Salmon Magic by Chef Paul Prudhomme. Rest his soul.
Oh, okay.
But his line of seasonings is outstanding.
Wow.
Well, he has one called Salmon Magic. I'll sprinkle that on if I'm entertaining or you know, if the kids are eating. I'll sometimes brush on a little bit of teriyaki sauce, just a little, so it'll caramelize when I put it under the broiler. I love it that way, and I love it on a cedar plank. Sometimes I'll my cedar plank and then lay a nice little fillet on top of the cedar plank, season it up, put a bunch of fresh lemon on it because I love how my salmon tastes with the fresh lemon. And sometimes I'll brush on a little bit of honey barbecue sauce and put that on the grill or under the broiler. And again, that'll caramelize that barbecue sauce on top, and it'll get all a little burnt edge every now and then. Love to come across.
Oh my goodness, girl. You have sold me. And here's the thing, the reason why I really wanted a couple of ideas, because my wife could eat salmon every day. My mother-in-law could eat. They love salmon. Now, I have a go-to recipe, and I know you're going to kill me, but I'm going to give it to you. It's called a triple glaze salmon. Okay. So I rinse the filet. I season it with some Cajun seasoning. Sometimes I make my own seasoning. Then, just before I take it out on the grill, Nikki, I will take, and it's called triple citrus glaze, meaning I'm using 3 types of fruit. I'm using lemon, lime juice, and orange, and equally part into a pot. I chop up a little garlic and saute that, and then I add the liquids. I add a little soy sauce, a little brown sugar, and it may be something else, but it's posted somewhere. Let that cook until it reduces down to a thick syrup. I kind of put a little olive oil on the grill and on the salmon so it doesn't stick. Put it on a direct heat on a gas grill. And, you know, salmon, what is 7 minutes, 8 minutes tops, depending on the temperature. And then just as it's getting ready to come off, before I flip it 1 or 2 more times, I brush that glaze on it. And then my wife likes it with like a sweet potato or something like that, and a salad. And she loves it. But I have never done skewered salmon. And girl, you just gave me a thought. And, you know, I might turn it up a notch with throwing a couple of chunks of bell peppers or something in between the pineapples. I just think that would be absolutely delicious. And I think about like a little get together at your house, how cute that looks. You know, like on a table. That's amazing. That I mean, girl, I told y'all she was good.
Absolutely.
All I got to do is just ask her about a dish, and she gonna break it right off. So, do we have a caller now?
Yes, we have a caller waiting for us. Her name is Veronique from Atlanta, Georgia, and we're gonna patch her in.
Perfect.
See Veronique?
Yes.
There we go.
Hi, welcome to Real Talk with AB, Veronique, and you're from Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you so much for calling in.
Hi, thank you for having me. So my question is kind of for both of you. When are you going to do something together as far as like a YouTube channel, cooking together? And then for Chef Nikki, what would you recommend for someone who suffers from high cholesterol or high blood pressure? What type of meal plan?
So the thing you have to remember is carbs are the enemy when you are dealing with cholesterol and high blood pressure and diabetes. I'm going to group them all in together. And as you guys know, heart disease is the #1 killer of all Americans. So a lot of these symptoms end up with, it's usually heart disease. So knowing that, we have to, one, not only watch what we eat, watch what we drink. A lot of times people feel like they can drink anything possible as long as they're eating right. But you have to reduce the amount of alcohol and drink plenty of water, cut back on the sugary beverages, including sodas, sports drinks, energy drinks, cut that out. Drink plenty of water. I can't stress that enough. And if you can see behind me, I had this alkaline, if you see this little curved faucet behind me, I had an alkaline water filter installed under my sink. So being conscious of what you're drinking, of course, being conscious of what you eat, which means when you are suffering with those particular challenges, you can change your numbers that pop up in the lab work by reducing processed foods. So anything that comes in a box or a package, you want to eliminate that, because a lot of times there's so many preservatives and additives, just extra stuff added to keep that box or can
preserved.
Yes, you want to eliminate that. It's going to require a little more work on your behalf, which means you got to get to the grocery store or the farmer's market and buy fresh vegetables that are in season. And a lot of times people say, oh, I just bought some fresh corn, not potatoes, because
right.
You know, I get that all the time. Oh, I love corn and potatoes. Yes, those are in the produce section, but those are the ones you would want to avoid. So to answer your question, Veronique, leafy green vegetables, which of course, spinach, kale, collards, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, asparagus, any kind of green vegetable, just incorporate that into your life every day with every meal if you can. Put some spinach in your eggs in the morning. One of the comments on the side here said they love steak and eggs for breakfast. Steak and eggs is great. There's no carbs in steak and eggs. The problem is when you start introducing the toast or the biscuits or the hash browns. Those are the things you want to eliminate. So, and then I'm going to wrap up this question because I could go on and on for days.
I love it.
Reduce high cholesterol. But in addition to the green leafy vegetables, you want to stick, if you choose to eat meat, stick with the lean meats, which are chicken, fish, and turkey. And that's it. That's the formula: vegetables, lean meat, and water. That's it.
Wow, it's so informative. Thank you, Nick. It's so informative because, you know, what you just outlined are great dishes. I mean, you can make great dishes. My garden is filled with, you're not gonna believe this, but I'm growing kale. So when I make my salad, it's Bibb lettuce, romaine lettuce, and kale straight out of the garden, rinsed off. And then I grab a cucumber and some tomatoes and chop it up. And it's quite amazing. Veronique, I want to go back to your first question is, you know, I would love for Nikki and I think we could do a phenomenal job co-hosting a show. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to have her on. And it's one of the reasons why I've partnered with AB. You know, we personally feel like and I'll speak for myself, that there isn't a large enough presence of African-American chefs on the airways, explaining to our people how to eat healthier, how to create dishes that we grew up on and that we love. So, you know, we're going to pray on that thing and we're going to keep in communication. You know, I know that I would absolutely love to work with Nikki because I think that our personalities and our friendship jive, first of all. Second of all, I think that we right now, are in a little bit of a different space that we both could add something to a show in terms of cooking dynamics. I can see Nikki right now. Pat, we ain't doing that sirloin steak. Nikki, can I just have a little bit of it? Or, can I just cut up a few of these potatoes? Nikki, will it be okay if I take some red potatoes and I just grill them instead of, frying them or that type of thing? So we don't ever know what the future holds. We have a dynamic friendship, but our goal is to continue to create great dishes, through our social media platforms, which Nikki will share with you hers, and I'll share with you mine. Also, maybe some stuff on YouTube and things like we're doing right here. I tell people, enjoy this moment, because this is a show where you got myself and Chef Nikki on, just like we would be in a kitchen. So more things and great things to come. But thank you so much for calling. You're in my stomping grounds. I'm about an hour away from you, and I so appreciate you tuning in. And keep watching. There's a lot of great things coming in the future.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey Pat, I saw a comment that said, and it was one of the viewers. It said that eating healthy is very expensive. So what tips do we have for eating healthy? And what I want to say to that comment is, life is expensive, and it's very expensive to not eat healthy, because you're going to pay for it in the long run. You're going to pay either way. You can pay up front and make the healthy choices, or you can pay on the back end when you're paying for prescriptions and
oh girl, you better preach.
And hospital visits. And I know this because I took care of my grandmother, I took care of my father, and now I'm taking care of my mother. And my aunts and my uncle, I see with them in my life, I see the generation before me, and I see their challenges and what they invested in and what they didn't invest in. And
you're absolutely right, Nikki. You're absolutely right. When people say those things, it's good that we're here to educate them that the hospital is a hell of a lot more expensive than going to the grocery store, and the prescriptions and all of those things can cost you a hell of a lot more money. And it's like, it's almost like the cliche about an attorney. Well, I can't afford one. Well, you can't afford not to having one and sign that contract. And the next thing you know, you locked into something that's going to cost you a hell of a lot more money. So people need to understand that. And I don't believe that as much, because I think that there are ingredients that you can purchase and create meals that can be healthy, that are inexpensive. If I can say, a head of cabbage and an onion and some carrots can make a great coleslaw. Chicken is probably one of the cheapest proteins you can buy. It's a hell of a lot cheaper in today's time than ground beef and steak, and even pork and pork chops for that matter. So, we got to be conscious of our choices, I think is what you're saying. Yes. Because, we do so many other things, and it's about shopping and being conscious. And I think one of the things you have to do is meal plan. I know you probably do it, Nikki, and I do it as well. When I go to the grocery store, before I go, I start to think about some of the meals I'm going to prepare throughout the week. And a lot of times you're able to use ingredients in 2 or 3 different dishes over the course of the week. You can buy spinach, you can have it in a salad, you can saute it with some garlic, and you can do other things with that same dish, is what I try to do. Sometimes, Nikki, I'll take a whole chicken. And right now with food prices and everything, a whole chicken is probably one of the cheapest proteins you can buy. And I'll take it and I'll defrost it, season it, and I'll put it in a baking pan, a pan, season it, and bake it in the oven. And the last 10 or 15 minutes, I take the foil off of it, take the juices from the chicken and really glaze it. But guess what? Sometimes we eat on that chicken for 3 days. We'll have our Sunday meal where we kind of carve half of it. And then the kids might have leftovers the next day with some a salad or something. But then sometimes I'll take it and I'll just slice off some of the breast and chop it and put it over a bed of greens. Now, what gets me in trouble sometimes is I want to add a little bacon and a little cheese on it. I mess it up. But hell, Nikki, I feel like at least I'm a lot better than I was before, and then all my test results come back pretty good. So I cheat a little bit, but you can take that whole chicken and do several things with it. One of the cheat meals that we have every week is, you're gonna hate it, but we do it. Is Friday night is pizza night. And my kids absolutely love it because they get up on the countertops with me and we make pizza. Well, I used to always want mine meat. I want some ground beef and some pepperonis and all of that on it. Well, I haven't done that probably, Nikki, in about 8 months to a year.
Good.
What I do is, and the kids like a cheese pizza. It's Friday night. It's our cheat night. My wife is probably the best out of all of us because she can do a straight veggie pizza with spinach from the garden, bell peppers from the garden, some red onions, maybe some mushrooms, and that's her salad. So a lot of times, pizza. So a lot of times we'll do 2 or 3. For me, because I love my protein, if there's some leftover chicken, I take that chicken cold, cut it up on a cutting board. If I got some of my extra barbecue sauce, which I always keep some, mix it in. And then after I put my pizza sauce and the cheese, I'll come with some of that chicken on top with maybe some red onions that's been mixed in with the barbecue sauce. It becomes a barbecue pizza. So I think that when people start talking about costs, one of the things that they need to think about is, something like a whole chicken where you can actually get 2 or 3 meals out of it. So it's one of those things. So right now we have Tina Sims that says eating healthy is a change mentally.
I saw that, Pat. I as soon as she put that up there,
Yeah.
I'm so glad you said that, Tina, because some people don't always realize the benefits of eating healthy because they're always eating bad food. If you change your diet and eat health and make healthy choices, you will change your whole mindset because you'll be more alert, you'll have more energy. Sometimes you'll notice the brain fog will just disappear because when you're constantly eating junk food, you have a foggy brain. And I
got junk in your brain. Got junk in your body, you got junk in your brain.
That's right.
It's and I think the physical activity is important. One of the things that I'm constantly doing, I've been doing all my life is, I exercise regularly, Nikki. And, I have a room in my house where I have an elliptical machine, and you'd be so proud of me. Right now, I'm up to 18 miles a week. So I do 6 miles in an hour, 3 times a week, and I do a lot of stretching. But you don't have to go to that level because I was always an athlete and I played sports and all of that. But one of the things that I tell people is that when I finish, I'm inclined to eat healthier. I don't want the burger and stuff after I've exercised. I want a light salad or something like that. So, I want to say this has been super amazing. You told me before we started that you had another engagement, and I want to give you an opportunity before you leave, and thank you so much, darling. You're my sweet sister, and say hello to the family and everything, to tell us how we can stay connected with you on social media and all your platforms, the things that you're doing, And I just want to ask one favor, is that when AB gets back and we get into season 2, if you would indulge us with your amazing knowledge, food knowledge, and presence
Yes,
to
yes.
come back. Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
So
Whatever
tell
you
us, thank you, Nikki, so much. I can't wait to get to the West Coast, girl. We're gonna hang out, getting that big. You got that big ass kitchen in there, girl. I'm gonna come in there. Brian gonna be mad because that Pat in here got shit everywhere, but I'm gonna cook some stuff. Maybe we'll do
Let's
some
go.
grilling or something. But tell us, Nikki, how we can stay connected with you, all the platforms you're on, the projects you're working on. I know you do a lot of real quick, a lot of you do a lot of videos and things where you are educating people like you've educated us so beautifully tonight. How can we stay connected with Chef Nikki Shaw?
Well, please stay connected with me through all social media. It's all the same, Chef Nikki Shaw. You'll see it right on the bottom of your screen there. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. My website is the same, chefnikkishaw.com. And it's an absolute pleasure to be your guest. I love you, Mr.
Thank
Pat.
you. Love you too, sweetie.
And I thank you. Shout out to Mr. AB. I appreciate you having this platform for our people to talk and fellowship and cook and just enjoy one another. So big shout out to Mitzi and Nada, and because I know it's a lot going on in the background.
Oh yeah.
Appreciate
you.
you all.
Thank
And
you.
I look forward to we meet again.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Nikki. You know, your presence is always a breath of fresh air. I always gain knowledge from you. I mean, I really do. I gain so much knowledge from you because you bring food from a dynamic perspective. And it means a great deal. And I'm so grateful that when I called you, that you decided to join us. And it's so good to see your lovely face. You know, tell the husband I said hi, the kids. We got so much more to talk about, and hopefully you'll come back because there's other things I want to dive into, like meals you prepare for your family, you know, some of your business stuff. I think people would be interested in that. So we'll connect real soon, honey. I know you got to run because you gotta jump on. The girl stays super busy, but you guys always follow her, join her social media platforms because it's a lot of stuff. You get to learn so much about her family. And it's been my honor and privilege to have you on this evening, darling.
Thank you, brother.
All right. We'll talk soon.
Love you.
All right. Love you back. Take care. Boy, now was that not a show? I mean,
Right.
That was incredible. The knowledge that we gained from her is, I soak it all in because as I'm getting older, I want to be around. I want to be around for my children, for my wife. There's so much I want to do. And a big part of that is how I eat and how I cook, not only for me, but for my family. As we move on into the last 30 minutes of this amazing show, I have to go back and make this announcement so that you guys have an opportunity to join in on this giveaway. So here's the deal, y'all. Real Talk announced a giveaway. You probably have all heard about it, but it's finally here. Real Talk with AB is going to be giving away a 3-set hex-clad cookware. Now this is a bad joke, y'all. I'm already putting my bids in for one. The grand prize will be the 13-piece set, and then he's also giving away 2 of the 7-piece set that you see on the screen. Now listen closely. This is what you got to do. You got to go to this video after it airs and it's posted, and go to the Real Talk with AB and enter in the comments section, pick me, hashtag Real Talk with AB. There's only going to be one entry per person. You can enter up until August 23rd, 2022, which is next week. And you also need to be subscribe to Real Talk with AB. Winners will be announced during that show, and you have to be present on that show to win. So all of the information is at the bottom of the screen. You guys want this amazing set and cook like a real chef. Subscribe to AB's show on YouTube, Real Talk with AB, and go on after this show is posted and enter in the comments section, pick me, hashtag with Real Talk with AB. Did I get it all in, Mitzi?
Yes, you did. Absolutely.
So, I want to spend this last half hour reading some of the comments. I'd love to take another call.
Absolutely.
Tell us what you think about the show. You got any questions for me? And again, thank the incomparable Chef Nikki Shaw, because she's incredible, and she is so knowledgeable, and there certainly should be a larger platform for her, because not only is she a great chef, but she's dropping some knowledge on us that we, in particularly the African American community, most definitely need in terms of eating healthy. And it's about lifestyle. Just because you're eating healthy doesn't mean the food don't taste good. You can tailor it. One of the things that I like to say is that, and I wanted to say before she left, is that we have a bad habit of salt being on the table and automatically sprinkling it. Because I was one. I would, when you brought me a plate out with something on it, immediately salt and pepper. And it became a habit and a routine without really tasting before, because a good meal shouldn't require that. If you cook it right, or you go to a restaurant and they prepare it right, you shouldn't have to add any more salt or on it. Now, I'm a guy that likes, hot food, so I'll add pepper, but I have recently gotten away from that. When I make a meal, if I didn't season it properly when I was cooking it, then I'm hell out of luck when it hits my table, because I'm not going to put any more salt on it, because it's just a bad habit. Cooking with salt dissolves it and makes it it blends in a hell of a lot better than at the end, and you're just doing it. And you see people do it all the time in the restaurant. As soon as they get a plate, they do that. And it's just a habit. That's
Absolutely.
unnecessary. And what we need to do is taste and eat. And then if you need to add a little something, you can. But most of the time, if it's prepared right, then you don't really need to do that. And I end up doing a lot of pepper. So, so what do we have? AJW, right? Sprinkling without even tasting it. Right. And I used to do it. I was, and I grew up that way. It was automatic. And so now I have to break that habit. That's one of the things that Nikki, I think, was talking about, is changing habits and changing the way that you eat and the way that you cook. And then after a while, it just becomes, how should I say, routine. And then you've adjusted, and then you're not spreading it to your children or your spouse or other people around. Can we take a call? Do we have anybody?
Yeah, we are waiting for somebody to call in with a question or anything to say.
We would love another call. Do we have some comments? I wanted to spend this time really engaging with you guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hopefully, I've been able to fill the humongous shoes of AB, but it's a pleasure because I'm able to share my thoughts, my cooking experiences, and how they are such an intricate part of our life. I don't know if a lot of people are like me, but sometimes when my feet hit the floor in the morning, I'm thinking about what I'm preparing for dinner. Oftentimes, I'm thinking about what I'm preparing for dinner the night before, or even when I go to the grocery store. Now, maybe I'm a little psychotic, but I start thinking about, sometimes I can be up on the elliptical machine in the morning, and I start thinking about, and I try to get people that if you start thinking in your mind, then about as opposed to just going in the kitchen and preparing a meal early in the day, then that gives you a chance to plan. I mean, sometimes it can be 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. I say, well, oh my God, I need to go take those drumsticks out of the freezer. And I try to tell people that, I'm gonna take that cabbage out there and I'm gonna, saute it and add some carrots to it and make a cabbage dish. It has to be a frame of mind and in your thought process as you start to think about what you're going to eat. You just can't just hop in the kitchen and say, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to whoop this together. And that goes all the way back to planning when you're making your grocery list and you start going to the grocery store. Oftentimes, those kind of things will save you money and it'll take the stress off. One of the things that Nikki said is when she watched my show on Food Network is that everything that I prepared seems so easy. Well, one of the things that I've always tried to do is make cooking, I don't know if this is a word, unintimidating. Oftentimes, if you're not a person with my kind of background or Nikki's kind of background, we think that cooking is hard and you got to make it all this. Well, tone that down a little bit. Get in there, have fun. Oftentimes, I'll get in there, I'll turn some music on, have me a glass of wine, and I'm cooking, and my kitchen becomes a fun place. And now it's become a fun place for my kids, and my family who comes in and joins me in the kitchen. So, it's a lot that goes into that you can do that makes cooking fun and unintimidating. So
Yeah,
we
but I
got a
really.
comment.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I have
Go
a
ahead.
comment here from Charlene Dickerson Gilbert. It says, Pat, I've always watched you cooking for a long time. Glad to see you are still at it and looking good. God bless you.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Charlene. It's comments like that warm my heart. Um, I felt a tremendous amount of responsibility when I was on the air to um, bring you into my kitchen and to have fun with it because it was my hope that you guys were doing the same thing at home, having fun cooking, preparing good meals. And, it warms my heart to hear comments like this because, you know, it's like when I ran my restaurants. I always tell people the best thing that happened to me when I was running my barbecue restaurants in Tennessee was not how much money I made, but it was when someone told me, man, this is the best thing I've ever eaten. That meant more to me than how much money I made at the end of the day because I knew that everything that I put in, this person came in, he placed the order, he sat down, he ate a meal, and he's now telling me that this is the best thing he's ever eaten. And as a chef or a person that's preparing meals, or even in the entertainment field, that's where you get your most gratification. You know, you know, I got my most gratification from letters like comments like you gave that we offered you something that made you happy on Saturday mornings. And so thank you so much. Now,
All right.
who do we have here?
Yes, I have a comment from a crafty McMama. Says
Uh-huh.
this episode has been the best timing. I just got some bad labs and trying to change my mindset to healthier choices to cut out carbs and sugars. Pat and Chef Nikki offer great suggestions. Thanks, guys.
Oh my goodness. Well, you never know who's
Yeah.
listening, and you never know when it's your time for some solid, good information to hit you. And thank you so much for tuning in, because it's great to know. You got some bad labs. You got to make the changes. You got to be disciplined. You got to integrate some exercise. Let me tell you something. There are days, and I'm a guy that I have to exercise early in the morning before I do anything. After I have my coffee, I have to hit it. If I don't exercise early, then it's probably not going to happen. Now, that works for me. Some people exercise in the evening and things of that nature, but I have to sometimes, and the same way with cooking, and I want you to hear me clearly, sometimes is difficult, but it's not impossible. And there are times when I say, "Oh man, I don't feel like it," and that old devil is on my shoulder. Man, don't work out. Just forget it. Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. And I find myself in that bathroom putting on my workout clothes and going up there.
Mhm.
And sometimes the first 15 minutes is a little rough, and then once I get into it, then I go ahead and I grind it out. And then it's the same way with cooking, and eating healthy. You got a choice between a chicken sandwich and a burger. And you have to be disciplined enough to say, you know what, I'm not doing that burger. I'm going to do this chicken and I'll make the best of it. Because you know what you find in the end result, after you eat a healthy meal versus something that maybe is not so healthy, the end result is about being full. And what I've learned is sometimes I can eat a salad with some chicken on it. And after I'm done, I'm just as satisfied as I was if I had ate a greasy burger. I'm just as
Mhm.
satisfied because I'm full,
Right.
and so I don't want anything else to eat. And once you take that salad and put you some great dressing on it and some good chicken chunks on it and get into it, and you start to eat that way, then you'll start to crave it. So best of luck to you. Get those lab results down. Start eating healthy. Take some of our suggestions. Be sure to go on Nikki's page. A lot of times you can go on there and ask questions, and I'm sure she'll answer them for you.
Absolutely. So we have another comment here from Rodney Pete. Says, "Hey Pat, have you ever heard of a dish called cabbage soup? And if so, have you ever tried it?"
I've heard of it. I haven't tried it. I would be, um, I, I can visualize it. As soon as someone gives me a dish, then I immediately visualize it. And I can visualize cutting up some cabbage, um, boiling it off, maybe in some chicken stock, maybe adding some more vegetables. Now, I'm a meat person, so I might would take some pre-cooked chicken that maybe some grilled. I would say maybe some grilled or pan-seared chicken breasts. Cut them up in chunks. Add them in. Kind of pre-cook them a little bit. Add them into the cabbage. Add some carrots. I think that gosh, you could probably throw in some peas. One of the things that I tell people is I've created so many recipes over the years through my cookbooks and shows and different things like that. A recipe is only a blueprint. So my suggestion to you is that if you have a cabbage soup in your mind, then visualize how you would want to make it and go after it. And if you say, doggone it, it just ain't, I didn't put enough flavor in it, then try you a little more seasoning next time. Or if it's too salty, I don't need any salt. But in my mind, I can visualize bringing it to a boil in some maybe chicken stock or turkey stock or something like that, taking me a few chunks of meat, putting it in there, and then just add some vegetables, maybe some tomatoes, fire roasted tomatoes, maybe some carrots or some peas or something like that, and make that thing work. You can make it work.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What do we have here from
Here we have SD Honey says, "When you don't feel like it, Pat, that's when you know it's working. I know the feeling some mornings."
yes, but I have I have conquered recently, more recently than in the past. Man, go on, get up there. I fight that devil off. I be talking. One say, Pat, don't, you've been working out really good, man. You ain't got to go today. But I'm trying to stay on a schedule and get a certain amount of days in every week. And so when you miss one, then you got to make up for it. So it becomes so much harder. So what I try to do is stay on that regimen. Last week, for instance, had some things come up and I couldn't get my Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays because I typically like to do Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Take the weekend off. Sometimes in between there, I'll play golf or I'll get out in the garden or I'll do something real active on my property, and I consider that a workout day. But I don't let that substitute my Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So I got off schedule, but guess what? I got up and I hit it. I think it was either Saturday morning or Sunday morning, which is something I normally don't do on the weekend. So I stay focused in getting up. And one of the things I'll say about working out is make it comfortable for you. It's just like in your kitchen. In my workout room, I have a flat screen television. I'm one of these guys, when I get on a machine, I can't look at the timer because that messes me up. If I know I've only been on there 15 minutes, I got another 45 minutes. My head is jacked up. Oh, God, you ain't going to make it. So I take a towel and I lay it on top. And I never look at my timer until I get off.
That's a great
And
tip.
Yeah.
I never look at it. I never look at it. I don't look at it. And if I take that towel and wipe my head or face, I don't look down at that screen. And dime to a dollar, so old saying, almost 99% of the time when I get off, because the shows are pre-recorded that I watch and I know how long they run, it's an hour. And I can get it right in an hour, 6.4, 6.5 miles in on my elliptical machine, which ain't bad for an old man like me. And I consistently do it. Now I need to just take Nikki's advice a little bit more and just eat a little bit more healthier. But I feel pretty good. I don't have, like I said, I'm not on any medication for high blood pressure or heart or, cholesterol or anything like that. But it's a constant effort, especially being in the field that I'm in.
Right. I have another comment here from Cooking with at Town 2. Says cabbage soup diet. People eat that for a week straight for a quick weight loss.
Really?
Yes, that goes back to that cabbage soup. And then I also have another comment here. This one's interesting. It popped out to me. It says Captain Stable MDR says, "Hi, I have a relative in the Navy who is a cook on a ship. They have fresh ingredients but little access to good spices. Any recommendations to add flavor?"
Well, if you got fresh ingredients, one of the things that people don't realize that adds a lot of flavor is sometimes your peppers. And they all don't have to be hot. People think of peppers and they think of hot, but your red bell peppers, your yellow bell peppers, your green bell peppers, onion adds a lot of flavor, garlic. But if you have some of your basic spices, you can make a great spice or seasoning. For instance, if you got a paprika, you got a chili powder, you got an onion or garlic powder, then you're able to blend those together, maybe with a hint of white sugar or brown sugar and a little salt, and you can create a generic all-purpose seasoning. But if you don't have access even to those basic onion and garlic or paprika, then I suggest that if you got your basic salt and pepper, would work just fine. Just start to add a little bit more of your bell peppers, your onions, your garlic, your tomatoes or tomato paste, those type of ingredients to whatever dish that you have, and it will bring a lot of flavor. A lot of people, obviously cook with that garlic. They add a lot of flavor.
All right. So we have a question from the Lisa D. Delight Show. Says, Pat, what is your favorite meal to eat?
Girl, now Lisa, if you know anything about me, all my social handles on social media and on my YouTube channel is Pat Neely BBQ King. I love barbecue, but I have always done barbecue in a wide spectrum. And of course, barbecue is something that you can't cook every day or every week. It's a lot of work. You got to go out and you get your grill and you got to do this. So one of the things that I do in my barbecue cooking process is if I'm cooking ribs, pork or beef ribs or chicken or something, and I'm grilling this weekend for some particular reason, I will grill 4 slabs of ribs as opposed to 1 or 2. You say, why are you doing more? I take the other ones, I wrap it, I put it in the freezer. And if there's a night that I have an urge and we got vegetables and what kind of meat we're going to have, I can go pull a slab of ribs out of the freezer, slowly warm it in the oven, and I cut it. So I love barbecue. I love ribs. I love pulled pork. I love beef ribs, believe it or not. And I'm a big fan of beef brisket. But I eat those in moderation. But in my house, chicken is king. We do a lot with chicken. We roast it. I make chicken. Nikki will kill me, but I make a chicken pasta. Um, I'll make a braised chicken to keep from frying all the time, like in a Dutch oven. And the chicken is so delicious if you cook it right. Take it and sear it, whether it's breast or thighs, in a Dutch oven with some oil. Then pull the chicken out, and then I go in with my vegetables. Maybe it's some chicken stock and some carrots, potatoes, and then put the chicken back in, put that lid on it, and the chicken and the vegetables are completely raw, and throw them into the oven, and then maybe make a spinach. So I try to be creative because I still cook for the family a lot of days of the week when I'm home and I'm in town, and I don't want them to get bored. So I move around, but one of the things that I am doing, Lisa, is trying to stay away from a lot of fried dishes. I grew up with a lot of, boy, I loved me a fried pork chop. Oh my goodness. Now, when I get over into the winter, I do a lot of savory dishes, chili. I do a pork chop soup, and you have to go to my page and follow it. Maybe I'll do another video with it, but I'm sure you can find it if you Google Pat Neely pork chop soup. You can find it, and those are my winter dishes. So I kind of flip and flop. In the summer, it's light dishes, salads, and turkey, and a bunch of roasted chicken and things like that, and barbecue. Then when I get into winter, I go a little heavier with savory dishes like shepherd's pie, chicken pot pie. Um, the chili, the stews, and things of that nature.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and you guys, and he says, man in the kitchen. What is he asking me, Brian
Man,
or not the
brine or not
Brian?
brine, wet or dry. I believe he was talking.
He's
Yeah,
got to be talking barbecue.
right.
Okay, so um, rarely have I ever brined. Sometimes I brined a turkey, but I never really brine. Um, I was taught a long time ago in terms of barbecue that and we can, me and AB, smoking and grilling, we're gonna have to do a whole show on that. Um, when I barbecue, you should be able to taste that meat without any sauce, and it should dance in your mouth. The sauce, which you mean is wet, is a compliment. It's like a lady with some uh, got some Gucci shoes on, and then she wants to get her a nice bracelet and some jewelry or a handbag to go with those expensive shoes. Your sauce should complement your meat. It should not be overpowering, and you shouldn't need the sauce to make the flavor. So to answer your question, wet or dry, when I serve here at my house and the way I served for 30 years in my restaurant, you could get it either way. And I don't cook my meat in my sauce. It's cooked with my dry rub using an indirect heat, low and slow and smoked. And then just before I serve it to you, if you want sauce, we will pour and ladle a little sauce over it. Hopefully I answered your question, but it's a great question for people that didn't come from a history of barbecue, understanding the real art form of barbecue. It should be in the flavor of your charcoal and your wood that smokes that meat, that gives you a good flavor where you can eat it. When I'm taste testing before I even serve to anybody, I take me a pinch off of it without even the sauce, and then I might dip a little in the sauce. Later on. Can we take one more comment? We have reached the
Absolutely.
90 minutes, but I just want to end on a high note, and I want to take one more if there's a comment up.
So we have a comment here from Denise Martin Johnson says, how long did it take to start and have a productive garden?
Oh, girl, you ended this show on a high note. Denise, let me tell you, prior to last year, I had never done a garden in my life. And I had this space on my property that was fenced in because there's a lot of wildlife and deer that the people who owned the house prior to me apparently had maybe hunting dogs or something. And it was like a kennel. And I kept saying, I could turn that into a garden. I could turn it into a garden. So the first thing I had to do was clear it all out, cut trees out so that the sun and everything could hit it. Then, fortunately enough, my father-in-law, who does a garden every year, not one as large as I'm doing, he taught me how to fertilize the soil, which meant I needed a tiller machine. I had to turn the soil, and you put mushroom fertilizer and some triple 10 or 13 in it several times in the off season. Then I had to create my rows. And so the first year I had a substantial amount of success because with having the space, I do everything from corn to okra to sweet potatoes to all the the leafy lettuce from romaine to Bibb lettuce and Swiss chard to cantaloupe, cucumbers, of course, tomatoes, squash. All of that is in my garden right now, and collard greens. So last year, it fluctuated. You know, my greens didn't do too well. And I just learned, I'm learning every day, that being here in the South, typically you should grow your green vegetables, cabbage, lettuces, greens, in the winter months. I just learned that maybe about 4 months ago because my greens was out there. They were just dying in this heat. They just, oh Lord, would you give me some water? So I got a tripod water system and I keep it watered. But I'm learning so much about it. And this year is even better. I am on my 4th harvest of collard greens just this summer alone. Girl, it's time for me to go out there and pick collards again. And so they're growing beautifully. What I would tell you, Denise, is that I have posted a lot of step-by-step pictures and tutorials on my Facebook and Instagram pages. And there's a few videos on my YouTube, which leads me into to keep up with me and to keep up with this garden. And we'll probably, AB and I will do a whole show on it. Go to my Facebook, Instagram, YouTube pages, Pat, Neely, BBQ King. Mitzi and them will show it on the bottom at the end of the show. And follow me and then ask questions because it's a process. Each year I get better and better. I'm learning this through this year and the end of last year, where to plant certain vegetables so they grow up the side of the fence. And then when you got things like sweet potatoes, you want to put them and grow them to a certain area because those vines will grow all the way across your tomatoes and your squash and everywhere else. Squash is one of those plants that it gets so doggone large that you need to put it over to the side and not grow it with your green beans and things of that nature. So I'm having a blast with it. The kids come out there, they get out there with me and we pick. I take my music out there sometimes early in the morning and I spend hours out there picking, but it requires work. You got to spend time out there. Before we close, y'all, this has been a lovely show. I just want to reiterate the giveaway. And so we are, and I have to put these on, y'all, make sure I get everything in. The amazing AB and his platform, Real Talk with AB, is having this amazing giveaway, y'all. And it's the 3-set hex-clad cookware. All right. The grand prize will be the 13-piece set. And then he's giving away 2 7-piece sets. Now, here's what you got to do to have an opportunity to win. First thing you need to do is leave a comment in this video after it ends and then on his YouTube channel, Real Talk with AB. And the comment you want to leave is pick me, #Real Talk with AB. You can only be one entry per person, and you can enter up until August 23rd, 2022 is when his next show is, his next live podcast. You must be a subscriber to Real Talk with AB, and winners will be announced during that show, and you have to be present. So if you want to cook like a chef and you want to cook like AB or myself, enter. As soon as this show is posted, pick me. Hashtag Real Talk with AB.
Absolutely.
Y'all, I got to tell you, first of all, I want to again thank the amazing Chef Nikki Shaw. It was a pleasure to have her on. It's always a pleasure when she and I get together and sit and chat it up. And hopefully she'll join again. Mitzi and Nada, I want to thank you guys for doing such an amazing job, helping walk me through in the absence of AB. You guys are super amazing. And, I want to thank AB for giving me the honor and the privilege to host his show, this Tuesday. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I could go on for hours talking about food, talking about cooking techniques, sharing my thoughts, my experiences. I think that we need more of these type of platforms. And then I want to thank you, the viewers, the listeners, for all your support. You guys are what make it happen. Without your support, then AB and myself, we can't do this. And so, we give big hats off to you guys for continuing to support us. And I just hope that I've lived up to the expectations of my brother AB. And I, again, want to thank all of you guys for joining me this evening on Real Talk with AB.
Absolutely. I just want to give you a thank you from the team.
Yes,
for me and Nada. Thank you, Pat, for being
Pat.
a great host. And then I just want to make sure everybody knows in the chat to clarify again, please comment once this video is posted and aired and done. Comment in the comment section, not the chat.
And it has to be under the channel Real Talk with AB.
Absolutely. Get that hex pad set. All right.
Y'all got to get it, because if you don't pick a winner, damn it, I'm gonna get it.
See that entry, Pat.
I know.
Well, listen, thank you guys so much. Look forward to it. You haven't seen the last of Pat and Neely. AB and I are working on some amazing projects, and I will be back. But hopefully I was able to fill his shoes at least half full for him, while my brother was able to take a little time off. And look forward to joining you guys again real soon. Thanks so much. You guys have a lovely evening, and I'll be back soon.